jump right straight into setting up the SSL certificate for our WAMP server. Now there is one more thing you need to do. After installing your WAMP server, you have to also download this app. It's an application, it's a software, OpenSSL, for your laptop. Now you need to download this. And where can we get this product? OpenSSL. Okay, right below here you need to download this. Now first what you need to do first is to know if your laptop is 64 bits. Okay, if your local machine is 64 bits or is it 32 bits, before you can know which of the version here to download and to install. So it's taken that you should know it, but in case you don't know how to check this, you head down to your file explorer, open up your file explorer where you have my computer, but mine is showing bunky because I have customized it. Right click on that, click on the property. Okay, it should open up the setting where you can see the bits your local machine or your computer is working with. Okay, like mine, you can see here mine is working on 64 bits. So whatever I'm downloading from that site should be 64 bits, Win64, because that's what I'm working with. So back to the site, you see we have Win64 OpenSSL, the light version, and we have Win64 OpenSSL, the complete version. So I will advise you go for the complete version. It's large anyway, 140 megabytes. So you click on this exe to have it downloaded so that you can install, not the MSI. The exe is what you should download. If your system is working on 32 bits, you can go for the advanced. It's about 116 megabytes. So you click on this exe, is going to download it. Then you just click. By the time the app it's downloaded completely, you just click on it and install. It's pretty straightforward to have it installed. I have it installed already on my laptop, so I won't do it again. You just keep clicking on next until you see the finished screen. Then you launch. I don't think you have to launch it. It's when it's done, the installation screen guide goes off. Okay, but to know if you've done it successfully, if you've done it appropriately, in the proper way, now there is a way to check it out. If it's installed in your laptop, you head down to your local C drive, maybe from where you have my computer to your local C drive. Then scroll down to where you see the program file. Open up the program files. You should see it here, OpenSSL. As you can see, mine is Win64 because my laptop is working with 64 bits. So if it's installed, you should see this folder in your program file. If you can't see this folder in your program file, it means you didn't install this right. You have to do it again. You have to do it until you have this folder in your program file. So that's it. So with this, if you should have this, then you are set to move to the next step from this step-by-step guide. Okay, now we'll move to step 3. Step 3 here says we should create a private key. So you should open up your terminal as an administrator. Just read this up. It's necessary you read it up. I won't really go through reading them line after line. Okay, I'll just show you how to go about this. So you open up this blah 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 as an administrator. Now let's go to where we install the OpenSSL. So you open the path, the path to the directory where you install the OpenSSL, and to inside the bin folder, you open it up in your CMDR emulator. Okay, I made a video on this, the very first video on this, and I listed the apparatus you should install, should I say the software you should install, and a CMDR emulator is one of it, so that we can use this to generate the private key and also to generate the certificate. Okay, so let's do that. Let's head down to this part in our laptop. To get it from my computer to your local C drive, then you get down to your program files. Right inside your program files, you now open up the Open SSL and the Win64. You see the bin folder, open it up, then right inside here you now click on this address bar part. It should highlight everything that is there. With your control key pressed down, you press the key C, that's to copy. Control key plus C is to copy. You copy it, launch your CMDR emulator. Okay, when you should launch that, you type cd change path or change directory. In programming, there are some commands we do run at, in our terminal that has meaning. One of it is the cd. Cd stands for change directory or change direction. So this specified part that we've just written. So you should change directory to this. Okay, so that's it. I would like to clear screen. I think clear is the command. That's it, clear. Okay, so that's it. We are on the right path. Ooh. So it says now let's create the private key, which is this bit encryption. All you have to do is to copy this command, the command you are seeing here. Copy the very first one, head down to your CMDR, press enter. Okay, so it will ask you should enter a PME passphrase. Now type something that you can recall. So I'll type something that I can recall. When you are done typing, you press enter. Then it will tell you should re-enter the passphrase again. So you retype what you did before. Okay, so I've done that successfully. Back to the site, you copy the second command, head back to the emulator, paste it and press enter. It will ask you should enter a private key passphrase. You can reuse the same stuff you typed for the first one, just to keep things simple. Okay, it will write your RSA key. So that's it. You've successfully created your private key. Your private key has been successfully created. Like if you head back down to the bin, you see it. Oh, let me reload this. It should be this is it, private key. Okay, we've created our private key. Is now left with the certificate. So the next step is to create the certificate. Just like what we did, you copy this command, take it back, take it to your emulator, paste the command there and press enter. Okay, it will ask you some information. You just have to fill it out. It's not that you should fill out everything correct, but at least just stick to give out relevant information. Okay, so it's asking for my country code. I'm in Nigeria, so I'll type NG. Okay, it's also asking for my state or province. That's I'm in Akwa Ibom State, AKS, so I'll keep it simple that way. It's asking for my locality. I'm currently in Uyo. Press enter. So also asks for which area do you specialize in, maybe in your company, all of that. I'll just type I'll type WordPress. We are looking at WordPress. It will ask for the units. I'll still type WordPress. So it also asks for a common name. My name is Ubo. Just type that. To ask for your email address, please drop a valid email address to avoid errors. Okay, to avoid errors. So if that is done, if you should follow that step successfully, you should have your certificate created. So that's it. We've just created a certificate. So you have to check it out. Head back to the bin folder. You should now see the certificate right at the top. So security certificate 2 kilobytes, and also we have a private key here, also a key file 2 kilobytes. Okay, so we've done that successfully. So the next step here, like the screen on my screen here, is just to show you on how to verify if you've gotten the certificate and the key done generated successfully. So step 5 here says we should move both the private key and the certificate to this path, to your WAMP 64, the bin, the Apache 2.4 whatever version you have in your laptop. Then move it down to the configure file. Okay, configure file folder. Then create a directory. In programming, a directory is also known as a folder. Okay, so you create a folder, call it key. Okay, so that's what we're about to do now. You head back to your laptop, you click on your local drive C, open up your WAMP 64, head to the bin, open up the bin, open up the Apache. The current version of Apache you should be using is Apache 2.4.46, but mine, I'm using Apache 2.4.54 rather. Okay, so I would advise you to keep things simple. The version you'll be using currently is 4.46. Okay, so let me use the 4.46 to keep things simple. Open up the 4.46, open up the configure folder. Okay, create a folder. You shouldn't have the folder called key. I did this already, so you should create a folder, call it key. Open up the folder, paste your certificate and your private key. Okay, so when you should create the folder, you press your window key plus E to open up a new file explorer interface for you, and to your local drive you open up the program file, and then your open SSL folder, the bin, then you copy the certificate and the key. Well, I've done that already. This very simple way to go about it. You copy that, then switch your windows. Well, alternate key, press down with the tab key should switch the window for you. Then you paste it right inside your configure folder. Okay, the configure folder and the key folder. This certificate and private key should be right inside this folder. So that's the step 5. If you should do that, then you jump to the step 6. The step 6 here now says we have to have something set up in our Apache to recognize the SSL certificate that we've now brought into our Apache server. So it says that we should open up this path, your WAMP 64, your bin, your Apache 2.4.46, the configure folder, and inside the configure folder you should have this file called httpd.config file. So you should open up this file in the code editor, then uncomment the following lines of code. So that's what we're about to do. So I'll head back to my bin folder. Okay, not this one actually, the one that leads to the Apache. Let's do it together. The local drive, your WAMP 64, bin Apache 2.4.46. then you open the config folder, right click on your interface here, you see open with code editor. Okay, you open it with the code editor. For most of you that maybe you didn't add the code editor to your dialog box that is always launched, okay, there's another way to open this up. Okay, to access this our directory in our code editor, you press your window key plus R, should bring up your run tool, then you type cmd to launch your command prompt interface. We call it the command line interface, CLI. So right inside here, what you have to do is to type cd space. Remember I said the cd stands for change direction or change directory. Head back to your config folder, copy the path at the top. That's click there, it will highlight everything. Make sure that everything is being highlighted. Then your control key plus C to copy that path. Head back to your terminal, then right click on the terminal. This should paste what you've copied. Now take a look at my code very well. I'm writing cd, then I space and now pasted the directory path to the config folder in my Apache. So you should do the same. When you should have that done perfectly, you shouldn't have any error if you should press enter. Okay, so with that done, I can now, let me close this up first. With that done, I can now type, okay, back to my terminal. If I should do this successfully, can now type code space with a dot, press enter. This should open up this particular path in your code editor. Okay, let's wait for it. It's coming up. Come on. So my code editor, it's launching. I don't know why it's very slow. Apologies, this video might take up to like 15 minutes, but I'm trying as much as I can to make it very short. Okay, so if that should launch, you should have it this way. Everything should be looking this way with your key folder and all of this inside. Okay, all right, so we head back to our step-by-step guide. So it now says we should open up the httpd config file and then uncomment these lines of code. So back to our code editor, I will open up the httpd config file. Okay, then click on the interface of the code. I can collapse this so that you can see everything. Then control key plus F should bring up the file. The find whatever supporting stuff to help us find what we are about to uncomment. So you look for the load module, just copy this, okay, paste it inside there. You should have it there. So I've already uncomment. Like yours should have this hashtag symbol. Yours should have this hashtag symbol in front of it But if it doesn't have it, then leave it. But if it has it this way, it means it's been it's commented out. So our job here is to take off the comment and make it look real, when and make it look active rather. So when you should do this, you should always save your work. But mine, I have set my code editor that it's on auto save. Okay, yours shouldn't. If you are installing it for the first time, you should have a white dot here instead of X symbol like this. Okay, a cancel symbol. You should have a white dot showing that you've not saved, or there should be a notification here, countdown notification, number of counts of unsaved changes you've done in your work. It should count 1. So that shows you've not saved your work. You need to press Ctrl S to save the work. Okay, you should always save your work. Whatever changes you do in your code must always be saved. Okay, so we now have to look for this one inside our config extra and the httpds .config file. So we are done with this one. We are done with this, so you can close your file. To inside the extra, we have to look for SSL config. Okay, you have to look for this. Open that up, then copy this, Ctrl F to find, the Ctrl V, you paste it. Okay, what is it saying? Okay, extra is showing us no results, but that shouldn't be true. If you have any results in yours, you just have to look for if it should show you anything. Let me be sure. Okay, if it should show you anything, let me take out this. Still no results. If it should show you a result, you just need to head down to that particular line, then on comments take out the hashtag to keep that module active. It's a module that we need. So now let's head down to our step 7. Inside our httpd SSL config file. Okay, this is the part you should. It says here that change the following lines of code. Look for it and change the following lines of code. Now what we'll be changing here is we'll be changing our server to 443, and also you add your email address if you do want to do that. Okay, and also we'll add the path to our private key. We'll also add the path to our certificate. Okay, so how do we do this? It's quite simple to go about this. You head back to your code. Okay, so this is the file. This is the file. So what we'll be looking for is, you look for this, copy that, get back to the code editor, Ctrl F, Ctrl V. So it should bring you to this particular area. So you have to change the port to 443. You can keep this, leave it this way, leave this way, leave this one, leave this one. It should be this way. If it's not this way, then you change it to whatever you're seeing on my screen. Okay, so the next thing we have to change here is to change this. You copy this for your certificate, Ctrl A to highlight everything, Ctrl V, or to be sure you press Ctrl F to find, Ctrl V to paste what you're looking for. Okay, you should have this, you should have it points to here. So all you have to do is to uncomment it if it's being commented, then make sure that this part is well entered, just like what you are seeing on my screen. The same thing with the certificate file. Let's look for the certificate file. That was for the private key. Look for the certificate file. Control F, paste. It should take you to your certificate file. Uncomment it if it's being commented. Then correct the path. Add the certificate.crt. Add it. Okay. You should add this. Okay. Be sure of everything. Whatever you're seeing on my screen, do it the same way as I'm showing. Like everything you're seeing, if there is any mistake, it won't work. You have to be sure of everything. Now leave this particular configuration, this one, it should be there by default. Just leave it so that you won't temper on anything. Now the step 8 says that we should configure our virtual host, and to do that, you open up this part in your code editor. It's still inside the extra, that's the config, the extra, but we'll look for httpd vhost. So inside the extra, this is my extra that I've expanded. Look for httpd vhost, drag it, take it to the top and release. Okay, so this is it. That's it. So it's now saying we should change the port of anything. You are seeing the from port 80 to port 443, and add the following lines of code below. Okay, so if you are inside this, you shouldn't have it much this way like what you are seeing on my screen, because I've been playing with it already. So from the guide, this says you should change, but I would advise don't change, rather copy the one that has 80 already. Let's close this. Copy it. That's highlight from where you have the virtual host to the virtual host. Ctrl C to copy. Then go down, paste. Okay, when you should do that, you change the 80 to 443. Change the 80 to 443. Then also follow the guide. The guide says you should add these lines of code: SSL certificates file, SSL certificates key, and that's it. So this is what it won't be there. It won't be there. It will look this way. What you'll be having in your code should be looking that way. So you have to copy this, hit right down and paste it. Okay, then always remember to save your file. Ctrl S to save all your files. Okay, so that's it. With this step 8 being done, everything should be working very fine. So when you've done that successfully, I'll take this off because I don't need it for now. Okay, let me just leave it. No, I'll take it off, but you don't have to take it off from your own end, since this is the first time you are doing it. We'll be using it anyway. It's the first time you are doing it. You have to delete it. Sorry, if it's the first time you're doing it, you have to leave it there. Now this is what I'll advise you do. Just leave yours there. We'll be using it later on to set up the custom domain. So save your work, then close the code editor. Then for the WAMP guys, the WAMP server guys, head down to your services app. To launch your WAMP server. Although you can launch the WAMP server directly from your desktop, just to double click on this, but I don't always like waiting for it. It will take time to load. Okay, if you are using a computer, if your laptop is a laptop that is very fast, it won't really take time to load. Like mine, I'm running a lot of services already on the laptop, so I don't want to wait for it, seeing the screen loading and all of that. So we are done with this for your CMDR. So you come to your CMDR and you type exit, or you can directly close it using the close button. I just closed my services app. Let me open it again. So for the WAMP server, you either launch your WAMP server using the services app here by looking for the WAMP. This is it. WAMP, my SQL64, MariaDB, and Apache. You start all of them. Okay, if you've watched the video on local setup, you should know how to start them. So, but to be sure that what we've done it's okay and perfectly fine, I think we have to launch it directly. This way. You can also start it the other way, but we just want to see the green symbol. The article here says that if you should see the green WAMP icon, it means everything is right. Okay, so we will rather work with starting the WAMP directly from our desktop. So as you can see, it's showing the red symbol, so it's still loading. The services are still running. Okay, so we have to wait to see if there is any error. It will show us that there is error. It won't show the green symbol, but if there is no error, it will keep loading until it's finally up with the green symbol. So let's wait. It's still saying none of the 3 services are running. The 3 services. Okay, so let's wait. Okay, it's still showing red symbol. We just have to wait. To see it. Okay, it just changed to the orange, and it should finally change to green. Come on. Okay. Still the orange. That's why I always like preferring starting it. You start it from the services app, but since I've already used the desktop here, I can't start it here again. Okay, you see they are all running. 3 services are running, so we are just waiting to see the green light. Okay, so that's it. It's showing green. It means all our setup is it's done appropriately fine and very well. So that's it. So guys, that's it. If you're having the green light, it means everything is working perfectly fine. So you're good to go for the next setup. So in the next video, we'll be looking at how to create the custom domain name for our training to start perfectly fine. Now we'll be working with a custom domain name. So think of any custom domain name you can ever think of, like something unique, something you like, that will be working locally on your laptop. A domain name is basically just something like facebook.com. Facebook is a domain name. .com, the .com is the domain extension. So facebook.com is like saying the name, the unique name you can use in knowing Mark Zuckerberg, the owner of Facebook. So think of a domain name that you'll be using for your training. Like mine, I'll be using ubsimple.com. So see you on